Let's take a look at exercise 21 from section 5.6. So we want to simplify this exponential expression using the rules of exponents. We want to assume that each variable represents a non-zero real number. And we want to make sure we use integers or fractions for any numbers in the expression in our final answer. And we want to make sure our answer is simplified. And we want to make sure exponential notation has positive exponents. So that means no zero or negative exponents should be in our final answer. Okay, so the first thing that I would recommend doing on a problem like this is step by step eliminating negative exponents. So we see that this whole expression 2x to the minus 1 y to the ninth is being raised to the negative 2 power. So if we want to change the sign of that exponent, we have to move this to the denominator. So notice there is no denominator right now. That means the denominator is an unwritten 1. So we have to put a 1 in the numerator, and we move 2x to the minus 1 times y to the ninth in the denominator. And now the power on that, now that I've crossed the fraction bar, the power now becomes a positive 2. So a negative exponent changes sign when you cross the fraction bar. So there was an unwritten fraction bar in the original problem. I'll write this in a dash red. And an unwritten denominator of 1. So the denominator of 1 is the only denominator we can leave unwritten. All right, so now I will use the power to product rule. And this tells me that this, in the denominator, this power of 2 applies to the 2, to the x minus 1, and also to y to the ninth. So each factor inside this parenthesis is raised to the second power. So I now have 1 in the numerator. 2 squared is 4. Using the power to power rule, x to the negative 1 squared, in the power to power rule, the exponents are multiplied. So this becomes x to the negative 2. Y to the ninth squared, again I'm using the power to power rule, the exponent 9 is multiplied times the exponent 2. So this gives me y to the 18th. So I do not want any negative exponents in my final answer. So 4 y to the 18th remains in the denominator, but x to the negative 2 needs to cross the fraction bar, which makes the exponent become positive. So in the numerator, I write x squared, and that's the same as x to the negative 2 in the denominator. Now notice this is really 1 times this, but 1 times any number is that number. So 1 times x squared is simply x squared. And this is my final answer, x squared over 4y to the 18th.